let's go.
No. Hi Andy, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Emily. You?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Great smile, as usual.
And you? So, sales and selling,
Yes,
which you've done for
yeah,
the last sort of 30 years, did he say?
35
35
years.
years.
Yeah, 35 years. Started how all as good salespeople should start, really. Walking the streets and knocking doors
Oh,
and
wow.
building up your resilience and
In
your
Birmingham?
never say die attitude. Yeah, in Wolverhampton actually.
Yeah,
Started off in Wolverhampton.
because I'm
Uh,
Warwickshire. I had friends from Wolverhampton. Well, I was at I mean, actually, I was in Solihull, kind of West Midlands kind of area, and then Redditch as well, kind of Bromsgrove. I went to school when I was little. So I know all around there.
oh,
And I had friends, yeah, a friend from Wolverhampton at when I was in Warwickshire. So yeah, it's kind of my neck of the woods.
yeah, we're going down. We're going down to Warwickshire on Sunday.
You,
Yeah, British. Sorry, Worcester. Worcester. We're going to.
Worcester. I
Yeah.
went to school in Malvern as well for sixth form, so that's near Worcester.
Did you?
Yeah, so I've got a
That's where all
stepbrother
the
that lives in
that's
Worcester.
all the farmers are down there.
Mm.
Yeah, we're going down there next Sunday. British Taekwondo Championships.
Oh, nice.
So the young boys competing, and
Hmm.
hopefully we'll get a come away with a medal.
Oh, good.
It'll be interesting. It'll be exciting. Always love watching him fight.
Well, it's a handy skill, isn't it? You get into
Yeah.
trouble.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've done it for how long have I done that for? 20 odd years. And my eldest son has done it as well. He's a black belt as well. So
Wow.
there's three of us now that are black belts.
Gosh.
Interesting. And I can still give him a dig or two, both
So
of
do
them.
you fight in the living room or do you have a proper kind of
Yeah, we
area
we
to do
do.
it
No,
in the
we do.
garden or
We,
something?
we we do. And he always says, Daddy, that's enough. Okay, I'll give in. I'll give in. I go, okay. So as long as you know who the
How
boss is.
how old are they?
One's 35 and the other one's 14.
Oh,
So
I've got a 15-year-old. He's
yeah.
much taller than me, actually.
So
I'm
you
five
should
eight.
start there. You should start then
Yeah,
and
I
give
should
him
just.
a couple of digs.
Mine did it and then gave up when they were
What
little.
taekwondo?
They had all the uniform and everything. I kept buying these uniforms for various things, and then they give up.
Yeah,
But yeah,
mine.
it's a nice thing. I
My
think
my boy
actually
my
my son's doing something like that at university. There's some kind of Thai boxing or something like that he's doing. But
yeah, but my
Taekwondo
boy
was something that they did when they were little
yeah, my boy tried to give
for
up
us.
twice. He tried to give up twice. He came to me with a massive pitch and tears in his eyes and all sorts, and I said, "Nope,
Oh,
not
really?
happening, not happening." And now he loves it.
Yeah.
The day he got that black belt, the smile, and I said, "I bet you're glad you didn't give up now, eh? Bet you glad I said no." And I was just trying to teach him and show him that when you do something um, in life,
Hmm.
you're not necessarily giving up on the task. You're giving up on yourself. So what you're doing is you're limiting your own mind. And when you limit your own mind, as soon as you come up against another challenge and you hit that particular limit, there's a quick factor that comes in. So the more you can raise your quit level, the more you can achieve in your own mind. And that's all I was trying to teach him. I was trying to say, it takes 6 years to get a black belt. And what you're trying to do is achieve that goal over a long period of time. And what that shows is that you can, what we call, sit in the pocket and fight it out. When the going gets tough, I have a saying, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. But
Hmm.
tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Right.
And I've said that it's actually on my necklace. I've actually got it on my
You've
necklace.
got it written on there, engraved.
Yeah, tough,
Oh,
yeah, tough times don't last, but tough people do.
yeah.
Everybody has challenges in life. Um, So we have to rise, meet the challenges head on. Don't go around them. Don't go over them. Don't duck them. Go through them, because that's where the real learning takes place. There's another one. Whenever you're feeling pain, mentally or physically,
Hmm.
there's a lesson that you're learning or
Yes,
need
I've
to learn.
started doing that. I've started saying to myself, so what is it this is trying to teach me? What can I learn from this?
Yeah, it's an
Try
emotional
and get
pain or
something
it's a
out of it. It
physical
makes it
pain.
much easier.
Yeah, it's an emotional pain or a physical pain. And if you're feeling any type of challenge or misdemeanor in your head or something that's not quite happening for you, it's important not to get wrapped up in the actual problem. And that I've always taught people this, and it's the way I've always coached and managed my teams.
Mhm.
Never look at the actual problem. It's the reason why the problem. The problem is just the end part of the why.
Hmm.
It's the problem is the manifestation of the why. So
Hmm.
attack the why, then you don't have the problem.
The root cause.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, good. So, sales. So
yeah,
you grew up in Wolverhampton,
yeah.
Staffordshire. You were saying you were
No,
living around.
West Midlands
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
West Midlands. Yeah, grew
It's
up
all
in
West
Wolverhampton.
Midlands, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Warwickshire
a
and
part of it is
Birmingham.
then you got Staffordshire, then you got Staffordshire used to be called Salop
Right.
for some strange reason.
Used to be called what?
Salop.
Salop.
Yeah, they changed it for a short period of time to Salop, and then obviously everybody didn't like that. Sounds
I've
horrible, doesn't
never
it?
heard of
Salop.
that.
Yeah, it used to be a county. But yeah, I grew up in Wolverhampton. I was an apprentice engineer for a company that used to make safes and locks and keys called Chubb.
Yeah, yeah, I know Chubb.
Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, so I was an apprentice engineer there.
Hmm.
I got my qualifications and left. It wasn't a very nice place for, um, let's call them non-Caucasian people to be working at.
Right.
Right, it was very fraught, but um, funnily enough, it wasn't fraught, and it wasn't this. Wasn't uncomfortable by the people who I worked with. It was uncomfortable through the management. And as a 16 to 20 year old black child in that type of environment, it was a steep learning curve, and really, really steep. So, I was just trying to find my way in the world, and eventually ended up leaving there a little bit disgruntled and a little bit, I lacked. I was felt disillusioned with the world.
You had a tough
Uh,
start, didn't you?
yeah, yeah. Grew up with no father, um, and loved my stepmom dearly. Did my apprenticeship. I actually stayed there for her because I remember she warned me. She goes, she worked. She was an auxiliary nurse, and she'd been at this hospital for 20 odd years, and she worked with a nurse's son who was in the same place. And this was the first time I'd ever experienced it. She says, "Don't lose this job. Don't lose this job." In her Jamaican accents, which I won't do for now. She goes, "Don't lose this job. Don't lose this job because I can't take the shame with Mrs. Matthews' son who works there if you lose this job." And I remember thinking to myself, so I'm just doing this so she doesn't get shamed.
Yeah.
And the stuff I had to go through, the stuff I had to go through, and I had to keep reminding myself, I don't want to embarrass my mother. At the
So
end
that
of the
was your
day,
stepmother, and your
yeah,
father,
she
he
divorced it.
disappeared, didn't he?
She divorced him. So
And you stayed with
she
your
did,
stepmother.
yeah, yeah. So I stayed with her. We moved around Wolverhampton, and for the next, I think I was 8. So we moved around Wolverhampton for about 4 years, living in various places, and eventually she got her own place, and I had my own bedroom eventually. Um, but all those things shape you. They shape the type of person you are, and a lot of people have to be graceful enough to look at what their experiences in life were, and or where they've ended up, and then here's the key part: is not to let those experiences continue to shape them. At some point you've got to put your foot down and you've got to go. I'm not going to accept that. This is my end game,
It's yes,
and that's what I.
shaking it off and
Yeah,
finding
that's what I.
forgiveness so that you're free.
Yeah,
Moving
that's what I
forward
did in
from
the end.
that.
That's what I did,
Yeah.
and I ended up joining a sales company, and it was the first time I can honestly say, apart from my football, it was the first time anybody outside of football said to me that I was good at something, and I loved it. I couldn't get enough. The learning about selling, learning about what makes people's minds tick, learning about providing a need, learning about closing skills, learning about how different people think, learning about how different cultures think, learning about how business people think differently to the normal people who are in jobs. The way that business people strategically
Normal
think.
people.
Yeah, and it was just like another. It was just like a university of education for me, and I'm a sucker for learning stuff. I love my son now. He says to me, I say to him, I said, I love learning at school. He called me, yeah, you nerd. I go, yeah. Oh, yeah, I was a nerd. I loved learning. I loved learning about why things worked, and numbers, and particularly how numbers shaped, and why I remembered certain numbers, and I remembered how to do long division or multiplication, or you know the relationship between numbers. I loved all of that stuff.
Hmm.
So when it came to
It's like a puzzle.
selling,
I like math.
yeah, when it came to selling, I was absolutely flabbergasted. I loved putting a product in, and the product that we had was a lot of people may who are listening to this may not even recognize this product. It was called a Kirby vacuum cleaner,
Right.
and it's a vacuum cleaner that did multiple jobs, made of aluminium, so heavy on the eye, sometimes heavy to lift if you didn't lift it correctly. But the product and the technique
Mm.
of how it cleaned carpets was absolutely, and still today, is second to none. So I see all of these vacuum adverts on the TV, and nobody really understands what these vacuums are doing to the carpet.
Right. So the
So
Dyson.
yeah, we're talking all sorts. It doesn't matter what they are. If you're rubbing, let's say you've got. Here's a quick example. Let's say you've got your hand there,
Hmm.
right? How long could you do that to your hand? What would happen?
Yeah. So you get hot, the friction.
So what's
Yeah.
happening to the
You
carpet?
lose a bit of energy,
What's happening to your carpet?
but
You think about
but you
your
don't. You
carpet.
just suck it up, and then you just
Yeah,
do it once, and it should suck up, shouldn't it?
yeah, but what do most people do?
Most people would go backwards and forwards, don't they? Yeah. On the
And
wheels.
you've got so
Or
you've got either hard plastic or metal
Mhm.
against the soft fabric.
Yeah.
So what happens to the fabric?
But wears it, melts it.
And that's why people create that. That's why people create that. Follow the yellow brick road, that path in the carpet,
Right.
because there's the areas that they vacuum the most, and
Okay.
that's where all the grit and everything settles.
Right.
So a lot of people didn't realize that. So you had various tests that you did in the presentation,
Hmm.
and it would blow people's minds. absolutely blow their minds. And the big thing for me was, and I didn't realize this when I was young, a young buck, you'd go into somebody's house and you'd be demonstrating this machine, and the amount of men that did not do housework
My
was
husband doesn't do any
crazy.
housework. My husband doesn't do any housework, but he does do DIY. He'll build a shed, and he'll do the garden.
Yeah,
He'll do the
but
fish tank, clean the fish tank out, and do a few jobs like that instead.
okay,
I do
so
all the
you,
washing and
you
all the
you
housework.
have pink jobs and blue jobs, yeah.
Yeah, but everything's kind of equality. Everything is split down the middle. Everything else completely fair, like the bills and everything. It's just I do the housework. We
So
share the
I
cooking.
mean,
We alternate nights with the cooking.
yeah, and one of my jobs when I went into somebody's house was to get the husband to do a bit of vacuuming, and the wife watched, and you could physically see the smile on the wife's face when the husband's using the machine that I've got to do the vacuuming, and you can see them struggling with it,
Hmm.
just
Now
maneuvering
it's
it,
working.
and then you show them what they've done, what they've pulled up out of the carpet, and the look between people. He's looking at her going, "Have you not done the housework?" She's looking at him going, "Have you never used a vacuum?" And it's just a brilliant thing. I was there doing that for 10 years, and
Mm.
eventually I ran my own office.
Yeah.
Did quite well at that. In the end, I think at my height, I had 25 people working out of my office.
Mm.
Um, and then I got a job with the head of the country. So I ended up going up to head office in the country, and then I travelled around the country teaching people how to knock doors and take a vacuum into the house and sell it on the spot. So this
On a
vacuum
tip
was worth.
kind of thing.
So sorry.
With a check, taking away a check, take with a
No,
card
no, no,
machine.
no.
Or-
Some people paid check, some people paid finance, some
Mm.
people paid card. But the idea was if you could sell a vacuum cleaner for uh, £1,299 or
That's a
£1,499,
lot.
it's a lot by today's standards, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm going back 30 years.
Bloody hell.
But you see, this is that's why you have to demonstrate it. It's exactly the same as any commodity that we've got on the market nowadays. If you have to show your prospects value for money.
See, people do have money. That's the thing. You kind of think, oh no, everyone's like me and always skinned.
Well, well,
But
you
actually,
think of
people
you.
do have plenty of
Let
money if
me
you go to the right place.
let me let me equate this to you very simply, and this is not trying to sell you anything, but it's just a simple equation. How much would it cost you and your hubby to replace all the carpets in your home now?
We've got wood floors and a few mats, a few
Really,
rugs.
all through the
Yeah,
house.
yeah. It's a
Well, there you go.
Victorian house,
So, you,
wooden
so
floors, and just
you're off. You're off the hook. So the value wouldn't equate to you. But I'd
Mhm.
get into your house and I'd see that, and I wouldn't prejudge because you've still got a sofa. You still need to clean the sofa and you clean the cars and everything like that. But there'd be
A
less
Hoover the
value for me
rug.
to aim.
You
There'd be
should
less.
bring your Hoover the wood floors as well.
Yeah. Well, it has got the facility to do that. But what I'm saying is, there's there's less damage created on a wooden floor than through a carpet, through the softness of a carpet. But if you think about it, how much would it cost anybody to replace their home with carpet? Average.
Well, it depends how big it is.
Right, just pick a figure.
So 2 grand.
2,000 quid. All right. Now you look at that 2,000 quid. You then look at the time it takes, and you build all that value up. And you look at the fact that you can shampoo the carpet. You don't have to bring anybody in because it's got a shampooing
A
system
wet
with it.
Hoover, is it?
No, actually, now here's the difference. It's a dry foam
With
system.
a shake and vac.
dry foam. So it's got the foam
Right.
on there, so it settles on there, and what it does, it pulls the dirt out of the fibre, but it doesn't soak the carpet, and there's the difference.
Right. So it
Are
sounds
you with me?
industrial, like an
Well,
industrial hoover that will last.
some people some people would do that, and when you see when you actually see it working, that's when the understanding comes up. So you see all the, it's amazing, honestly. You see the sand and the grit that comes into somebody's house,
Mm.
and you show it to them, they would not believe. They go, "Where's that come from?" And then you do the big one, which is the mattress,
Right.
and the mattress is honking.
Disgusting.
It's honking.
Really?
Oh my goodness me!
Ooh.
The mattress, the mattress is so
'Cause do you
dirty.
even change your mattress? We're supposed to change them every 10 years, aren't you?
Probably less than that. If I remember rightly, I think it's every 7.
Is it?
Yeah. Um, but the mattress has got that much skin in it.
Yeah.
Um, it's unbelievable. And then you bring that pad down, you show them what's in their mattress.
Yeah.
That's it. So you've got the mattress, you've got the health reasons, you got the asthma, you've got the carpet, you've got the shampooing system, you got the car, you got the sofa cleaning system where you can clean the sofa, you can do the stairs easily, you can change it from a cylinder vacuum into a heavy duty vacuum. There's that many different things that it does that eventually, if you were to add up all the money you'd spend in your house, it'd be much more than 1,300 quid. And that's exactly the same as what we do when anybody. I've been in sales now for 30 odd years, and the different products that I've sold, it's equating that value or taking that value over the price of whatever's being sold, so that the person believes and understands, and then they can see they're getting a bargain.
So you go to affluent areas then?
No,
No?
because what's the difference with somebody who's affluent to somebody who's not?
So if you've got interest-free finance kind of available, then that's okay. They don't have like 1,300 quid to hand.
No, if somebody's affluent, they can
Yeah.
afford to change this stuff.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So you want the stuff to last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's for people who are middle of the road who want their stuff. The average household, I think, changes and everything around every 60 months. That's what the figures were then. Every 60 months, that's when they change carpets, sofas, all sorts of bits and pieces like that.
Wow.
Right. But if you have bought, like, carpets in my house cost a lot of money, and they're deep. I
Yeah.
don't
No,
have
good
anything with a
quality ones. Mm.
yeah. I don't have anything with a short pile. I like deep piles. All right. So it's soft to walk on. Um, So I would want those to last. So that's why I've got a Kirby. That's why I use, because it pulls the dirt out and leaves just a carpet pile.
Yeah.
So you want that stuff to
The
last,
bag
and
carpet
that's
sold. Yeah, you sold me one.
there you go. And
You're
and,
quite
and,
good
and
at it.
well,
But you're
it's
buying the
not.
person, aren't you? When you're selling, they're
Yeah,
often like
and
buying
and
into
you've
the
got
person that's selling it. They're trusting you, and you're
yeah. I've just come off the business workshop, and I was saying to Zarina, who's running it, that it's not so much selling to somebody's needs, because that's an old-fashioned, an old-style way of doing things. It's recognizing what the need is
hmm
and putting the solution in front of somebody,
yeah,
because they will, the person who you're generally talking to will know no different than what they do on a daily basis. They just think that's normal. Whatever they do on a daily basis is normal, until you turn up with something and you say, ah, have you ever thought about anything, have you ever thought about it this way? And all of a sudden, there's the job of somebody who's in sales is to get the person who you're selling to think differently about what they're actually doing. And if you can get them to think differently enough, then they start to ask you questions. If they start to ask you questions, those are generally known as buying signals. but then you have to check. One of the things that I like to do is check the buying signal. Once you've checked the buying signal, you can then solidify in their mind what they're thinking. That thinking has to change in order for a transaction to take place. So
So
you have to change
what's the question that you asked for the buying signal, just to check the buying signal?
anything. It depends on the
All
question. So whatever they've said. So for argument's sake, say they might say, "Do I get bags with this?"
right, yeah, yeah. What's included or whatever.
And the key to selling and good selling is you never answer the question.
Ah, and then they'll ask again, will they?
No, they'll answer it. So you ask me the question. Ask me about bags.
So do you get bags with it? How many bags do you get with it? Or is it
Well,
disposable bag? Does it have a zip? Is it refillable bag or emptyable bag?
let's take these one at a time. First of all, would you want bags with it?
Well, it depends if it's like a zip thing and it's you empty the bag or if it's disposable.
Okay. Would you want bags with it then?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, would you prefer a disposable or a zip?
What's better?
Which would you? It depends on what you prefer.
Disposable.
Disposable. So you want the bags and you want them disposable. Okay. And how many would you like to start you off with?
About 20.
Two, three, 20? What is this? Do you think this is a giveaway? I said two or three. Where'd you get 20?
How much are the bags?
Well,
Because the
they,
bags
it,
that we've got are really expensive actually for that Hoover.
well, you see
I think
now
it
what are when you're throwing away the bags that you've got. Let's say you've got a house full of carpet.
Mm.
When you're throwing away the bags, are they normally heavy with sand and grit in, or are they light with fluffing?
I'd say they're quite heavy, but it's a
No, with because you've got hard floors. So imagine you've
yeah.
got carpet.
Hmm.
The bags, when you're throwing them away, are they normally light and
That'd be
fluffy?
fluffy, wouldn't it?
And what's the only fluffy thing you vacuum? It's not your belly button, is it?
We've got cats.
You vacuum the cat.
We've got cat hair.
You don't vacuum the cat,
But I just
surely.
pick it up actually. I can just pick up the
What, the
cat
cat?
hair off the stairs.
Poor cat.
Short-haired cat.
Hey,
Short-haired cats we've got.
I'm
But
not
you'd be
surprised now
surprised
they've been vacuumed
how much
regularly.
cat hair you have. You know,
Okay.
you notice it
So
on
what
hard
else,
floors, you wouldn't notice it on carpet.
apart from the cat hair,
Mm.
what else is fluffy in that bag? What's the only fluffy thing you're vacuuming?
Well, hair and stuff. I mean, cat hair.
No, you're missing the point. You've got a house full of carpet. Stop thinking about your hard
Yeah,
floors.
yeah.
Right, so think about you vacuuming your carpet. What's the only fluffy
Just
thing
the
you're vacuuming?
carpet.
So every single time you're throwing away a
Mm.
bag, what actually are you throwing away?
Carpet. Fluff.
Now, if you knew that before I came today, how long would you have continued to do that?
Well, I do have rugs.
If you knew that before I got here today, how long would you have continued to do that?
I don't have any carpet, so.
I know you don't, but if you knew that before I got here,
Yeah. How long would I carried on?
yeah,
Forever.
you would have done.
Definitely.
Would it have made sense?
Yes, I'll probably buy one.
And you see, it's about
Um,
it's about it's
finance.
about get it's about getting people to understand
Mm.
logically what they're doing. Even in a company that I've not long finished working for, which was HR and health and safety, you could say to somebody, um, "You've got a lot of people problems now." You knew no different. You've just been dealing with these problems on a day-to-day basis. Wouldn't you prefer not to deal with these problems on a day-to-day basis? Because whilst you're dealing with people problems, what's it stopping you actually doing with your business?
You're getting on with the work.
And if you're not getting on with the work, what's happening?
You're not earning any money.
So that's all I've got to say about the solution that sits in front of you. Now, before I got here today,
Mm-hmm.
you knew no wiser.
Mm.
Now you're wiser. This is down to you. It's your business.
And
And you
1,300
see,
quid
just
down.
no, the HR stuff was more expensive. You were talking,
Oh God,
depending on,
what HR stuff?
well,
What,
it's
like
a full
software?
H, yeah, it's a full package. You get, you're able to call people on spec and build reports for you, write letters, all sorts of stuff. So there's a fair amount of value that you get for that, and you pay a
Finance
monthly.
stuff, like
No, you get a fair
PAYE
amount.
stuff.
You get a fair amount of value for running your business on a HR, and it allows you to work
Oh,
on the business instead of in the business.
okay.
So I think what the point of what I'm trying to get to is when we're selling, the idea is that we have to change people's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get them to where do they want to go? What do they want to do? Do
And
you
is
have
there
that?
a business psychology book? Is it business psychology, this? So is there a business psychology book that you've read that you can recommend?
Oh my goodness.
Is it a
Gee.
business psychology kind of, you know,
There's there
material?
I have been through that much business psychology material. It's not even funny.
Really? I didn't do
Not
that
even funny.
module in psychology. I could have done business psychology.
There's
That's interesting.
uh there's a guy called Brian Tracy, an American guy. Oh God, there's another guy,
Brad Tracy.
Brian.
Brian.
Uh oh, what's his name? There's another guy called Zeke Ziglar. These guys came before Tony Robbins. These were the originators.
God, would you call him business? Because I would have called him personal development, but yeah, I suppose
Well,
selling, isn't it?
they're,
Tony Robbins.
they're very much tied together.
So I would have
Um,
thought he was a bit like Mel Robbins.
uh, Nightingale Conant Corporation.
Oh yeah.
There's one. There, oh God, that's taking it back some. There's another guy, an Australian guy. He's not with us any longer.
Hmm.
I love his. Oh, I'll tell you where I'll find it. It's on my phone.
Oh yeah.
Um, I love this guy in my life. Uh, Jim Rohn.
Rome, as in Rome.
No, Rohn, as in Rohn.
Okay.
And one of my favorite speakers of all time, a guy called for personal development, a guy called Les Brown.
Mountain of stuff to get into there.
Oh, honestly,
Oh,
Les Brown, Jim Rohn will change.
yeah.
Jim Rohn is especially good for what we're doing,
Yeah.
um, because he talks about if you want to change anybody in life, if they want to generally change what they're getting, they have to change what they're doing. And to change what they're doing, you have to change your thinking. And
Yeah,
that is,
you can't expect the same results if you're doing the same thing, kind of thing. That's what they say.
yeah, that's a definition of madness.
Yeah.
So I love listening to those guys and doing what they tend to say, or at least implementing it. And I find that I have to keep going back and going back. Brian Tracy does psychology of everything: psychology of money, psychology of achieving, psychology of the mind.
I love it.
And he does the psychology of sales as well. So he taps into
Brian
your
Tracy.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was the first person that I studied and listened to.
Yeah. I haven't. That's another
Uh,
whole rabbit hole type thing that I haven't explored.
and that's a lot of information, and it's but when you listen to it, especially with the Jim Rohn stuff, Jim Rohn and Les Brown development, to me, and this is just a personal preference, their delivery
Yeah.
is more appetizing than somebody like Tony Robbins. So that's just the delivery. I don't know whether it's because of how they use their voice inflection, but it just seems to hit home a lot more with me.
Hmm.
Um, the Stephen Covey book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, that's excellent. And Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, what's
There's a
that
whole
one
there's a,
they've
there's
got? Um,
I normally find that
got
the books of today are
yeah.
versions of
Rich man,
those.
poor man.
Yes, yes, I've got that. I've got that. I'm ready for some
Robert
time.
Kiyosaki. Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah,
I always write the
haven't
date
re-
when I read it.
haven't read it for some time, but that's a great comparison book. That is
Yeah.
just tells you how you think, how you can think so differently about the same situation,
Yeah.
and where people, where people's psyche is enveloped from.
Yeah. Teaching
And
us.
one of my goals is to, well, not one of my goals, something I've been doing most of my career is taking somebody from this point and
Yeah.
taking them to this point and then taking them to this point. So if you want to take somebody from here right over to here, they sometimes can't see that. So what you have to do is you have to take them step by step by step. And eventually the magic happens. And I love this bit. I love this bit where they do something on their own that they've never done before, but they've gotten it from your coaching. And they are so overwhelmed with it. They've gotten the result. And they're so overwhelmed with getting the result. They explode into this bit of happiness that's where you see the actual growth. That's where I call it the real magic of recognizing that they're in a new space.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another level of confidence that comes from their performance. And that is the stuff that I've gotten up for the last 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stuff that you get up for. That's the stuff where you see people. I've just finished working with a young lady who I knew when she was in her early 20s. She got a bit of a not a temper, but she's a bit
Edgy.
edgy. Yeah, that's a good way to describe her. She's a bit edgy, but she's got a heart of gold. And I remember first meeting her and interviewing her, and I really rattled her in the interview. But I wanted to rattle her in the interview because I wanted to see how she coped. And she came fighting back in the interview, and I went, "That's my girl. That's what I want." And she just went on to be a success in our first role together. We worked in an insurance company,
Hmm.
and then I left. I think I left first, yeah. And then she left the company. She went on to do washrooms and become quite good at that. And she'd stayed in touch. Then I got the job at this HR company, and I was actually working not far from her house.
Hmm.
And I called her up and I said, "Where are you?" And she's, "Oh, what do you want?" And I went, "What? How's that a way to greet your boss, your ex-boss?" I said, "Where are you? I just want to come and see you. I think I'm close to you." And she said, I'll meet you in the pub, blah, blah, blah. We had a quick drink in the pub. And then she said, "Do you want to come uh, back
Back to
to
mine.
mine for dinner?" And I said, "Yeah, okay then, no problem."
Hmm.
And went round for dinner. And she then she did some food. And she said, "Right, why are you really here?" And I went, "I've come to see you." She goes, "No, no." She called me by my nickname, which is Finny. She goes, "No, Finny, why are you really here? What have you got? What job do you want to offer me?" And I went, "I don't want to offer you a job. I'm being deadly serious." And actually, when she said it, that's when it dawned on me, because I then saw she had a laptop out and she was still working. And I thought, she hasn't, none of those habits have changed. She's still grafting.
Hmm.
And then I thought it through really quickly in my head. And then I said to her, I said, "Well, now you mention it, now you come to mention it, you might like this job, you might not like this job, but if I told you you could be earning 8 grand a month, 9 grand a month, what would you think?" She goes, "I knew it. I knew it. I knew you were here for some reason." I said, "I wasn't actually, but now you've mentioned it." And she came on board with the company. She got through the training class. Part of the training class I did.
Hmm.
So I was training her in the training class. And she's gone on and she's a relative success at the new company. And I remember her turning around and thanking me. But she is she's a single mother,
Hmm.
and she wasn't a mother when we first started together. She's had a baby after losing her first, and she dotes on her little girl. And I'm so pleased to see how she's grown, and she feels really comfortable in providing for her little family.
Hmm.
You know, that's where my happiness comes from. Things like that,
Hmm.
because she's comfortable and she grasps. She still grasps. And there's a couple of times, because I was the national coach there was a couple of times when I'd have to go out with her when she wasn't selling, and I'd have to look her in her eyes and give her a verbal kick up the rear end and go, "What are you doing?
Hmm.
This ain't a joke. I haven't hired you to be a joke here. You need to pull your finger out your backside and get on with it."
Hmm.
You know, there's a thing that we call in sales, and 80% of salespeople fail because of this one. No, is it 80 or 90%?
So there's a 20/80 rule, isn't there, or something?
There's an 80 and there's an 80/20, there's 28 80/20 rule, but I'm sure this one's a 90% marker. And the biggest reason why salespeople fail in a sales presentation is because they do not ask for the order. They don't ask for the business. They do this whole presentation. I've been, like I've said, a national coach, and I've watched people sit in front of a client and the client doesn't speak. They just chat. I watched the guy talk for an hour and a half straight. Customer never said a word. And I'm thinking, well, how the hell do you expect to close a sale if you don't know what they're thinking? So most salespeople don't ask for the order. And I remember having this conversation with him,
Or
and I
ask
said,
for the
"What's
job
one
at
of
the end of it if you're presenting something.
you ask for the order,
So,
you ask for the
so
business.
yeah.
You don't. If you ask at the end, you're in trouble. You got to ask all the way through." So I said to her, I said, one of the first things I ever taught you was to ask for the business. And she says, yeah. I said, well, why are you not asking for the business? What are you, a TV presenter now? Are you a lollipop lady? Will you just escort people across the road and then back again?
They need to
And
teach
that,
this in schools. They should be taught psychology, I mean, it's so important
well,
for life, and it's just
it,
not.
it's
It
the
is
reason.
now. They do O level, don't they? GCSE
Well,
psychology. They never did it when I was at school.
well, a lot of the reason why you have to do certain things in life. Sorry, a lot of the reason why people shy away from doing certain things in life is the dealing with the rejection. So they'll not do something. They won't attempt to do something because of the rejection that can come back.
Because of the
Rather than,
worst case scenario outcome, and they think, yes, but what if it worked? What if it was the most amazing thing? They don't think
well,
the
it's
good thing.
understanding. It's the why.
Yeah.
It's understanding that it's not the rejection that you having to handle. It's the reason why. Remember, I said this earlier.
Yeah.
It's the reason why the rejection. So it's not the actual rejection. The rejection isn't personal. If you're in a sales transaction or you're in a negotiation bit, that rejection isn't personal unless you've been rude to the client.
Hmm.
It's the reason why, and what you have to do is find out the reason why, and then fix it the next time, or even fix it on the spot if you can. And that's
You're
where
selling
a lot
something,
of
it's usually the price, isn't it?
no,
No.
no, you can sit in front of somebody that can afford it, and they just say no because
Yeah.
you've not hit their solutions. They've got the money. 9 times out of 10, if somebody sat in front of you, 9 times out of 10, if they sat in front of you, they've accepted the appointment, they've got the money. It's
Yeah.
whether they want to spend the money. It's the desire to spend the money. A lot of salespeople don't understand that logic opens the mind,
Hmm.
emotion closes the sale. People buy off emotion. They do not buy logically. The only people that buy logically are people that deal with money. Bankers, buyers, um, accountants, who else? Some on the stock market, and even the stock market get a bit like that sometimes. Anybody that deals with money as a commodity, they do not buy with emotion. They're the only people that necessarily don't buy with it. They're logic stricken.
Hmm.
They're data stricken. All right. You have to find a way of tapping into somebody's emotions to get those juices flowing, to get them saying, I actually want this. See, want is not logic. Want is a desire.
Hmm.
And as soon as you learn how to create those desires in somebody for something that you have, which means you're providing them solutions to a challenge that they never realized that they had, you're in the money. You're
Yeah.
in the money.
So I was a kind of buyer, and I had quite a big budget for my client. But I was just buying on ROI, so results. So I was buying
What
media,
what
looking at testing the
what did
media,
I,
and then looking at the
what did I
results.
just
And then
what
it
did
was
I just
already
say?
sold before they tried to sell to
But what
me,
did I
take it
just
out
say?
for lunch, whatever.
But that's what I just said to you.
Yeah,
You buy it on data.
yeah.
You're buying on a data fix. You're not buying on emotion. You're looking on the return on investment, and you're going, if I spend this, what's the return I'm going to get there? And it's totally logical. It's got nothing to do with emotion.
Hmm.
Are you with me? Because
Yeah.
you could like something else, but it doesn't bring back the investment that this one does.
Hmm.
So, when you're buyers, bankers, oh God, accountants, that's a different level of selling altogether.
Hmm.
You really have to hit the road running there. Emily, how much time have we got?
Well, I mean, it's two now. We started at one, didn't we? So how
Hopefully,
much time have you got?
I've got a I've got a roll. I've got a rock
Okay,
and
all
roll.
right, nice one. Well, that was lovely.
Hopefully,
That's
hopefully
great.
we've got enough content there.
Yeah, I think so. That was really good.
And if you want
How
to
can
cover
people
any,
find you if they want to catch you on Instagram, or you haven't got your website
um,
yet?
no, haven't done that just yet. But we'll come on for another. We'll do another one. Maybe we could do
Yeah,
some training of individuals and going into mindsets and stuff. There's my reminder.
yeah, yeah. Let's do another one.
Going into
Yeah,
going into mindsets and how we change and develop as people,
yeah,
and maybe listening to some of that Brian Tracy stuff.
yeah.
if we can, if we can
I'll do
catch
it
up
research.
outside of this, and then,
Yeah,
we could probably discuss some of that stuff.
yeah,
That'd be a great learning curve, or a great listen. Sorry, for anybody that wants to tune in.
yeah. All right. So part one. Brilliant.
Okay,
Thanks a lot, Andy. Take
you're
care.
welcome. See you soon.
See you online. All right. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.